Hotels are supposed to be a place of comfort, a temporary home where travellers can rest before continuing their journey. But some hotels hold dark secrets. Imagine checking into a hotel only to feel an unseen presence watching you. Today we dive into the bone-chilling true stories of four haunted hotels, places where the spirits of the past still roam the halls. Stay until the end for the most terrifying tale yet, and if you dare, let us know in the comments. Would you ever spend a night in one of these places? In the heart of Los Angeles stands a building with a dark, cursed history, the Cecil Hotel. Built in 1924, the Cecil was meant to be a grand destination for tourists and businessmen. But fate had other plans. Over the decades, it became a magnet for tragedy. Suicides, mysterious deaths, and even the temporary home of serial killers. One of the most infamous stories tied to the Cecil is the death of Elisa Lam. A 21-year-old college student traveling alone, she checked into the hotel in January 2013. Days later, she vanished without a trace. The last known footage of Elisa Lam is something straight out of a nightmare. Security cameras in the hotel's elevator captured her acting strangely. She steps inside, presses several buttons, but the doors won't close. She peeks outside, looking as if someone or something is following her. Then she begins moving erratically, making bizarre hand gestures, almost as if she's speaking to an unseen force. And then she's gone. For weeks there was no sign of her, that is, until hotel guests started complaining about the water. They said it had a foul taste. Maintenance workers went to check the rooftop water tanks, and that's when they found her. Elisa Lam's body was floating inside one of the tanks. The lid was closed, there were no signs of trauma. No clear way she could have gotten inside on her own. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened to her. Some say it was a tragic accident. Others believe the hotel's dark energy consumed her, just as it had so many others before. Would you dare spend a night at the Cecil Hotel? Nestled deep in the mountains of Colorado stands a grand, historic hotel, the Stanley Hotel, a place so haunted it inspired one of the most terrifying horror stories of all time. It was here, in room 217, that a young writer named Stephen King spent the night. The hotel was nearly empty, its long hallways stretching endlessly, dimly lit. That night King had a nightmare, one so vivid, so horrifying, that it jolted him awake. He saw his young son running through the halls, screaming, being chased by something unspeakable. The next morning he had the idea for The Shining. But the hotel's hauntings didn't start with Stephen King. They go back much further. One of the most famous ghosts of the Stanley Hotel is Elizabeth Wilson, a former housekeeper. In 1911, an explosion in room 217 nearly killed her. She survived, but some say she never truly left. Guests who stay in that room report strange occurrences. Lights flickering, doors unlocking on their own, and their belongings mysteriously being moved. Some even claim to feel an invisible presence tucking them into bed at night. Then there's the grand piano in the lobby. Late at night, when no one is around, music drifts through the halls, soft, slow, deliberate. Employees believe it's the spirit of Flora Stanley, the hotel's original owner. She loved the piano in life, and in death she still does. And then there are the children. Laughter echoes down the empty corridors, little footsteps run across the wooden floors, but no one is there. Some guests wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of giggling, only to find their closet door wide open. The Stanley Hotel welcomes guests from around the world. Some come for the history, others for the ghost stories. Would you spend the night? Or would you be too afraid of what might be waiting for you in the dark? Deep in the heart of the Ozarks stands a grand hotel, the Crescent Hotel. Built in 1886, the Crescent Hotel was once the epitome of luxury, but over the years it was transformed into something much more sinister. In 1937, the Crescent Hotel became the site of a medical horror. A man by the name of Norman Baker, a quack doctor with no medical degree, transformed the hotel into a cancer treatment hospital. He promised patients miraculous cures, claiming he had a secret formula that would save them. Desperate and out of options, many sick people flocked to the hotel for help. But they never left. Norman Baker's treatments were nothing more than cruel hoaxes, excruciating procedures that did nothing but cause suffering. Dozens of patients died under his care, their lives stolen by a man who was never held accountable for his crimes. Today, guests of the Crescent Hotel claim to see the spirits of those who perished under Baker's care. One of the most famous apparitions is a ghostly nurse, often seen pushing an empty gurney down the hall. Others have reported seeing shadows in the halls, flickers of movement out of the corner of their eyes. The sounds of faint crying and whispers seem to come from nowhere, as if the lost souls of the patients are trying to reach out to those still alive. Some guests, even those who are unaware of its dark history, find themselves overwhelmed by an oppressive, suffocating presence. They describe the feeling of being watched, of hearing soft footsteps following them through the hallways, though when they turn around, no one is there. The Crescent Hotel may look peaceful from the outside, but once you step inside, the ghosts of the past seem to follow you, trapped, forever bound to the place where their lives were taken away. Imagine a giant ocean liner, once a proud and elegant vessel that sailed the seas, carrying royalty and dignitaries across the world. Now imagine that ship, long retired from its glory days, permanently docked in the harbour, its polished steel and grand rooms now faded with time. This is the Queen Mary, a ship that once carried passengers with ease and luxury, but now carries something far more sinister: the restless spirits of those who never truly left. Built in the 1930s, the Queen Mary was a marvel of modern engineering. It sailed the high seas for decades, even serving as a troop ship during World War II. But not everything about its past is as glamorous as it seems. During its service in the war, the Queen Mary became known as the Grey Ghost due to its stealthy, camouflaged exterior, and it earned a dark reputation after an accidental collision with another ship. The impact killed hundreds of people, and from that moment on, death seemed to follow the Queen Mary wherever it went. The ship's violent history left a permanent scar. Many passengers and crew members died under mysterious or violent circumstances, and today it's believed that the souls of those lost still linger aboard. Visitors and staff alike have reported seeing strange shadows and hearing unexplained sounds, particularly in the ship's lower decks. In the haunted boiler room, where the ship's engines once roared, people claim to feel cold gusts of air and hear the sound of chains rattling. Some even say they hear the tortured screams of those who perished in the crash, trapped forever in the bowels of the ship. The ship, once a symbol of hope and luxury, now seems to be a permanent home for the lost souls of its troubled past. Would you spend the night on the Queen Mary, knowing that you might never be alone? These are just a few of the countless haunted hotels scattered across the globe, places where the veil between our world and the next seems to thin, allowing glimpses into the realm of the dead. Some people might be drawn to these haunted hotspots, eager to experience the paranormal firsthand. Others, well, they wouldn't dare step foot inside. We pushed the boundaries, seeking answers in the darkness, confronting the unknown head-on. But the question remains, how far would you go to uncover the truth? Would you spend a night alone in one of these haunted hotels? Let me know in the comments below if you dare.